What is up, homies? We are joining the yearly Rapid Arena. The yearly Rapid Arena, I just logged on to Lichess and noticed this was here. There are big stakes. There are big stakes. Those stakes are digital trophies, which are no joke. And unironically, I want one. I want that digital trophy. So we're quite late for it. It's 8 hours long, and you can see there's 6.5 hours remaining. So, oh, okay. That's just telling me I'm live. Let's, actually, here. Okay, 1360. Seems berserkable. That seems loud. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yesterday we gained a lot of rating, it appears. I remember joining at like 2398. But I think we won all the games, even though we were playing way down. I got away with a lot of them. Yearly Rapid Arena. So these are going to be long time control games. It notifies my opponent that I'm streaming. F6. No way. I feel like I have to take this bait. I know it's bait, but I have to take it. Right? I mean, the fun is like check, take, g6. I would take the rook. So the only option... Okay, I know there's like... line is a strong word, but like take, king f7, bishop c4 check. They have to go d5 or else they're mated right away. Anyway, let's grab this rook. I'm not really sure. I know my opponent's 13-6. 1360 I thought was better than this, but it's 1360 question mark. 1360 question mark, which means provisional. Bishop e7, and we'll take the rook. Queen e7 probably better, because after takes, then you could follow. Oops, with knight f6. So it should be double live here, and I'm gonna try to pop out the Twitch chat so I can see it too. Great. Great. All right, gang's all here. So, I don't know. Could this be viable as like a really weird offbeat gambit if you played queen e7, takes, and then, let's see, if you took this pawn, and I went bishop e2, and then you took this pawn, attack my rook, rook f1, I feel like that's a line worth trying to make work. Worth trying is a low bar, because I'll try to make anything work in analysis. Okay, I could trade queens, I'm up a lot, but let's just like maybe try to end this game. What's up, Chess Cat? How you doing? Welcome everyone to the stream. We are going to try to win this big arena. Yearly Rapid Arena. Let's go. Why not me? My opponent played f6, and I took the bait of moving the f-pawn. Check. Takes. I took the rook. Took everything. Here comes the king. Okay. I feel like I should move a piece that's not the queen. Right? Just like as a general principle. I can move the pawn. I can move the knight. These all seem like those are certainly things that I could move. Alright, let's move the pawn. Give him that. Try to... I just want to end this game. Get to the next game in the arena. Jack here, rook. Where's the mate? Checkmate them. Do I know the O'Sullivan? Yes, I do. I do. I started out. Well, I was an Eric Rosen fan before I was a YouTuber. Still am an Eric Rosen fan. So yeah, that's a fun line to play. Certainly. You won't get it so often. D4 in the Alakine. So we're talking about e4, knight f6, if I understand correctly, e5, knight d5. And most people, I think, are either playing c4 or knight to f3. Not really sure what the advantage of starting with d4 is. Alright, I want to cut off. I feel like if the king runs this way, I'm going to lose track of him. If I just go like check, he runs. So let's maybe cut that escape route off. No, okay, let's do this. Check. King. King. Where's the mate? King, bishop. I need the queen back somewhere. But yeah, d4, b5. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. Because what I like about the O'Sullivan is it's not just bait, right? Like, declining... Let me think for a sec here. I think the smartest is check king b6, knight d5. Because king takes, knight takes c7, just picks up the queen. But like, b5 actually has a purpose. It'll stop c4 in that position. It'll invite the fianchetto. Oops. Where is mate? This is like a serious mating net. But I'm not really looking for nets. Alright, let's go. Okay, I can win the queen almost by force, right? Takes knight d5. Just trying to land on c7 with check. What's happening here after rook b1? 5 takes, b6. This is kind of annoying. Alright, let's just go here. Let me grab the queen. Could they have not taken the bishop? It's very hard for me to put the hammer down when the queen is not in there. I was trying to maybe get her back with check this way. Not that there was any rush to do any of this. But... anyway, we'll just grab their queen. I'll throw this check in. Knight is defended against the king, so I don't lose it. You get the O'Sullivan more than any other Gambit. I'm surprised people are playing d4 on move 3 with the Alakine. But that's nice. Are they taking on b5? I mean, why wouldn't you take on b5, right? Of course, there's really no consequence to white in that position of just ignoring that pawn. So we're talking about e4, knight f6, e5, knight d5, d4, b5. Can I check? Is nothing doing there. Let's just take the queen. Not a bad backup option. E4, knight f6, e5, knight d5, d4, b5. I don't think there's any serious consequence to white of just like going like that and castling. But if they do take the pawn, I think the trick after c5 is very often that they're not noticing. See, close to checkmate is not checkmate. Like, just because they have one square doesn't mean that... Oh, wait, maybe I'm lying. Maybe it does mean that. Queen f7, king c3, queen b3. There you go. That's the ball game. That's actually all pre-moves even. Look at the knight defending d6. Okay, thanks for playing this out. Really appreciate wasting our time in the arena. What's up, Screwtude? Matt Bader, good afternoon. Gambit Nation, good afternoon to you, sir. There are a lot of tricks with the decline. Okay, nice. Nice. No, yeah. I like it, man. Go for it. That is a spicy one. It's just a good, easy repertoire to have with black, right? Do you ever get hit with the dummy gambit is the big question as an Alakine player. Alright, I wanted to play attempt number 2 to play a hammer gambit. This is inspired by my opponent going f6 for no reason last game. Okay. Hammer accepted. Yes! Yes. Hammer Gambit. This is real. It's real. Oh, okay, okay. We're so gonna get them. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is gonna be a... This is gonna be a Hammer Immortal. Okay, wait. I don't want to go here, because, like, Queen C4 check, if I castle, might be kind of nasty, actually. Let me think for a moment. This is gonna be a Hammer Immortal. Okay, wait, but that's the best square for the bishop. I mean, come on. I'll figure the rest out later. I can't believe Queen E2. Okay, here. If I castle, yeah, check wins this. So that's kind of a problem. If I play D5, takes, and like King F7, just like a mad lad, takes and Rook E8. Am I that crazy? I don't think I'm that crazy. I'm pretty crazy, though. Ooh, okay. I'm pretty. I'm pretty out there, you know. No, it's just pretty stupid. Alas. All right, let's go. Let's go knight d4. I feel like this is an interesting move. This is an interesting move. Ooh, not what I expected at all. Okay, just wanted to trade that. I was even thinking about h6. Oh, are they brilliant? Am I stupid? What? No. What? Check? What's gonna happen there? I have a lot to analyze here. I was probably gonna go here, Queen E4. Okay, now what's going on? We've got everybody open on F2. It's just the powers of the hammer, guys. Things just work out. If I go knight B3, takes Queen F2, King D1. I want this to hit this, but it's hard. Like D5, I feel like you ignore it. Okay, maybe we just castle. Knight B3 takes, take F2, King D1. Hard to say there's a follow-up there, so let's just castle. We hit F2 directly. Right, now if you go Queen C4 check... What? What? Guys, the F file was open. That's the point of the hammer. That's the point of the hammer. Oh, we got him. We got him. I could just take, rook takes, eat the rook. Do I have like a cleaner win? Do I have a cleaner win for no reason? Should I pursue something ridiculous? Like for example, knight takes c2. Try to go knight, queen takes c2, takes f1, king d2, rook f2, knight e2. No, takes to your... Where's the mate? Bishop e3, king e3. No, there's still no mate. Okay, should I start with d5? Is that fun? Okay, maybe I should just take stuff. Maybe I should actually just take stuff. Maybe that is the best thing to do. Okay, it was a fun hammer. It was a fun hammer gambit. We gotta look at this one after. I don't know. Should I have done something ridiculous for content there? Maybe. It's always the internal battle, you know? I don't even, like, do ridiculous things for content so much as I do ridiculous things. Like, I would do this even if I weren't live. Like, I'm just trying to have fun, man. Like for that, I just instinctively just put the pawn there. E3, can we at least have like a cute checkmate? Rook, take. No? You're gonna say no to me? It's so sad. Hammer Gambit. So the background of this is someone played this against me, and I actually didn't really know what to do. I mean, I won the game, but someone played this move f6 again. I'll show you after. All right, what should I do? Just cut the king off and promote a pawn? Seems kind of lame, but what if I like promote to all bishops or something? This would be a good idea. Okay, that's not something I would do if I weren't live. En passant. Mirko, Screwtude, Mr. Matt Bader. Oh, go, pawn, go. What is up, homies? Alright, I'm not sure it was a Hammer Immortal. I'm not sure it was a Hammer Immortal. You know, out of all the phenomenal games played in the legendary Hammer Gambit, I'm not so sure where to rank that. But, so, f6. I'm going to keep playing this. What are these, like, Danish Gambit players? Come on. So, f6 does absolutely nothing, to be clear. Like, if you just totally ignore what I've done, like, go here, here, then this is, like, really not a good move at all. Just open this diagonal and this diagonal, stopping me from castling and potentially punishing me for also staying in the middle. Not good. Also, it does nothing to protect e5 furthermore, because recapturing check, this is very, very bad as you lose your rook in this line. So, you know, not a good move at all. But if they take it, and then you go knight here, kind of now threatening to take the pawn, and then they take it again, now after knight takes f6, suddenly we've got, like, a semi-respectable gambit on the board, right? We've got some development, you know, okay, I'm seeing plus 0.8, that's fine for move 4. Knight takes f6, we're attacking the pawn, we're just going to bring our bishop out, we're going to castle, we're going to use these files, play d5, let's get another file going. Queen e2, my opponent immediately rattles off this move, which was actually an engine move, which doesn't, I don't know, Queen e2, I think it's preparing long castling. It also does run counter to, like, what I'm trying to do. And bishop g5, they immediately rattled off another engine move here. Yeah, bishop g5 is really, so the point is, like, this bishop is actually very vulnerable. It's unprotected. Because the issue is castles, yeah, queen c4 check is bad. I lose the bishop. And also, they're threatening, if I, like, don't do that, you know, I just do whatever. They're threatening to, like, take it and then check win the bishop. So, when I play knight d4, right, trying to actually dislodge this queen, knight d4 would have been a very good move if it weren't for bishop takes f6. Because their next best moves are, like, what, queen d3 to defend, and yeah, I was going to go for d5, trying to follow that with bishop f5. This was my big idea. Bishop f5, hitting the queen with the knight protecting, and then I would win c2 here. They actually have no checks. So knight d4 is actually a really nice move. Alas, they do have this great move, bishop takes f6, which again they played immediately, right? You can see their time here, 9:46, and then I just recapture queen takes f6, not seeing that there is queen h5 check, but they missed it too. So it's like they rattled off all these moves, queen e2, bishop g5, bishop takes f6, which were all great moves, but the whole point of every single one of those moves was actually to win the bishop, but when the time came, they didn't. Yeah, there's queen h5 check here, winning the bishop. Always be aware of unprotected things. Always be aware of unprotected things. And yeah, the best thing I could do about it is queen g6. Okay, they could trade good queens, but better is taking the bishop. Queen takes e4. And then they can hold c2 with king d1. I mean, it's not pretty, but a piece is a piece. And I'm going to run out of things to attack with. Alright, they can kick me out with knight d2. They can take tempos on my king if I... Alright, I legally cannot castle right now. So, yeah, they actually had all that. But they took... I went queen takes f6, and then all of a sudden they don't go queen h5. And now everything flips, right? So I have castles here, which is nice. Actually, even better was rook to f8, not putting the king in the line of a potential queen c4 check, winning this. Of course, they can't really do it right now, because, like, okay, if you take the bishop here, you'll get mated on f2. Yeah, so castling, by the way, f-file's open. I'm attacking f2. They didn't really realize that. They played knight c3. Okay, I just take f2. And yeah, okay, this was the best line by far, taking everything. So the Hammer Gambit, I mean, I can't, like, actually recommend it, but I don't know, give it a shot. This is fun. Bring the bishop to c5, don't lose it, castle quickly, attack on these lines, and get them on f2. Subscribe? Question mark? I don't know if I'm gonna post that. It seemed fun. Always play f6, great comment. Blackmar Deemer Gambit Cult. Great username. Great username. A4U2 Fear. William, you ever play FIDE rated games anymore? Yeah. Wow, brutal question. Yes. I am actually going to be playing in Menorca. The Menorca Open next weekend. Next weekend, I fly to Menorca Sunday night. Oh, I fly into Barcelona. And yeah, the Menorca Chess Open will be one of the more... It's a Spanish island in the Mediterranean Sea. And it'll be one of the more gorgeous locations I've ever played chess. And a lot of my friends are going, so it'll be a fun time. And I'm visiting my friend after in Europe. But before... Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't post this. Before that, Too Lucky For You... Too Lucky For You... Am I too lucky to berserk? Before that, I have a big chess boxing event this Saturday. Quite excitingly. I was like, face a Nimzovich Gambit. Nimzovich defense, rather. This is the way to play against it, because now d5 is going to transpose into kind of like a bad Scandinavian, where I can just kind of play an ac3 or whatever. And otherwise, okay, e5, I transposes to king's pawn. Knight f6 gives me dummy potential. I think it should be a good Alakine, actually. Knight c6 is too early there. Whoa. I feel like I've seen this before. Colorado Gambit, I want to say. I'm really bad with opening names. Spicy. If I just push e5, I feel like my position is good. If I take it, I don't know what their recourse is. I'm sure they know. My plan was going to be like knight h4 and just come in for that check. Like, okay, I can just play d4, and I think I'm better just, like, maybe in this position. But knight h4 and then check just kind of makes their king move a little bit. I'm sure there's some preparation that I'm missing. Alright, let's just play bishop b5 then. Okay, and knight e5 or knight d4? I'm sure this was their preparation. I'm not really sure where they're going with it. I'll jump in. d6. I was thinking here. I guess potentially check. Knight c3. It should be fine. Bishop f4. Spicy. I feel like I'm playing all the most obvious moves. So if they do have prep, it would be what I'm doing. I glanced at this. I just didn't think this could work. So I was going to take c6. But maybe I'm wrong. Glanced is not very intense. Knight takes c6, queen takes c3, bishop d2. You got to figure that's good for me. What are they going to do? Yeah, I don't know. It's a little psychologically scary to just, like, definitely be playing against prep. Not a big fan. But I also think potentially even better... Well, no, they were hitting c2, right? So I can't just defend this knight. Knight can't... Also, I can't just... Yeah, this would hang. Knight can't move because the bishop was hanging. So an interesting position. I guess now they're thinking. Take c6. Take c6. King moves. Do I grab the rook there? Maybe, right? Grab the rook. They just go there. Wait a second. Okay. Rook b1. Take c3. Bishop d2. I want to trap it. Queen a3. I'm so close to trapping it. Bishop b4. Queen a2. Rook a1. Queen b2. No. with bishop d2. Rook b1 takes. a3. b3. d6. I'll figure this out. Bishop d2 takes. b1. a3. Alright, I'm just going to trust that it's trapped somewhere here. Didn't really have time to finish calculating. Bishop b4 takes. This is also a draw, like rook a1, rook b1. Not what I wanted. Any other move allows the retreat. After which she probably slips away. So I'll go with this. Takes a2. Close to trapped is not trapped, alas. Takes a2. Looks like queen c1. They're gonna get like 3 pieces if I play like that. Oh, is queen b2 not playable there? I'm not sure what they did was best. Okay, let's go bishop b6, bishop b7 and take. It's worth analyzing after. No, wow, what a crazy time discrepancy this is. Yeah, I have to trade. Although bishop c5 was interesting, but let's do this. Yeah, so they coordinated their rooks, which was smart, but they're still jammed in there. Check and take, but I can do that whenever I feel like it, right? Knight d6 is smart. Oh, wait, I am losing material here. Not smart. Oh, no, wait. They don't have bishop c8. This was hanging. I thought they had bishop c8. So I just need to put my rook on b3 to free my bishop so the rook is protected. Here we go. Yeah, we're good now. This should be working. Takes, rook is hanging. Otherwise you take me. Now after you take, I have queen takes c7 check. And you cannot defend all these pieces. So this looks good. What do you do, like an 88 then, just to not lose this? No, because this seems good for me. I just eat and push. Eat and push. Seems like it should go all the way. Need to come up with an idea here. They're kind of stuck. Oh wait, I want that pawn very much so. Go, go, go. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Whew, we got away with that. Alright, alright. Okay, Colorado Gambit. I really don't know it. This is kind of a tough introduction to it for me. Seems like an easy way would have just been e5, like I was thinking about. Declines it and kind of keeps that pawn in their face. Not obvious how to develop your pieces around it. You like d6 trying to remove that to give yourself some squares, but like I can keep kind of suffocating you a little bit. So, not really sure what they had prepped here, but d5. Yeah, so this... Okay, they can just go here, check. And I have 7. Okay. So, yeah, checks can be strong if you control g6, but I guess they had another way to deal with it. So this was just, like, yeah, just bishop b5 and knight e5. This is good stuff here. This was very ambitious. I could just castle. And I'm better with the strong knight, but I played your bishop f4. So this might all be theory. I don't know. Has this position happened a lot? Have I ever faced the Colorado Gambit? Actually, is a better question. Oh, yeah, wow. I don't have a great score. Okay. So, and I took it every time. So, c3, queen takes b2. And I go for this line. Right, so they're going for this check. Very ambitious, because things are hanging. So this is definitely a big advantage to have some preparation here. Here they could have just taken this. Queen a3. They went for, in the game, bishop d7. And yeah, the queen is not trapped in this line. And in fact, the engine is recommending that I just take this draw. Because the queen is not trapped. But they go for queen takes a1, extending the game, sacrificing their queen for a rook and a knight. And they do have, like, a pawn for it. But this should be good still, right? So I was able to grab this pawn. So now I'm winning. This was a good maneuver on their part. I guess this move wasn't useful. King f7. King f7 is useful for some reason. Oh, just getting the king here and out of danger. Like a manual castle. That makes sense. Yeah, I thought this was in danger because of the pin. And if they can add another attacker, I would lose it. But the bishop gets in the way. So I was actually okay. Rook d8, played rook b3 to defend the rook. And now this tactic is working that they missed. Bishop takes e6. I was able to spot that pretty quickly. If they take the bishop, I win the rook. And now I'm able to just recapture here because taking... I'm winning at least a piece here. And this is quite winning with a strong pass pawn. They're able to arrange a little blockade, but the rook and knight are now quite tied down, and I just need to expose the king here, win this pawn, create another passer, which is what I was able to do. Okay, this was a little hasty, but okay, I mean, it got the job done. This pawn was coming anyway. I was going to win this and make a passer somehow. And we ate it, and we made a new queen. And I was just able to checkmate them in time. Alright, GG. So this Colorado Gambit, yeah, I think if I had to do that again, I would do the same thing with taking bishop b5, d4, maybe knight e5 as well, but just castling. Just castling. And after that, okay, it's not so scary. I don't know what they're going to do here. They play like e6. Play b3, that's a smart move, putting the bishop on a3. So there's a lot of pressure on c6 that seems pretty brutal. Otherwise, yeah, bishop d7 to break this, but just do normal things, yeah. Yeah, it's in general the best way to deal with these things is don't overreact. Just stick to your principles. Develop the bishop, take some space in the middle. Okay, that's a nice square for the knight, and then just castle your king. Bishop f4 invited some complications. So anyway, good stuff. Colorado counter gambit. What's up, what's up, what's up? What do I think about b4... as a game against the Sicilian. b4, cx, b4, c3. Takes knight takes c3. That's fun. I think my main concern is what if they don't go pawn takes c3? I guess, and they just go, like, e6? Why is c3 better than a3? What's the advantage? Just opening the c line? What's the most dubious opening I would play in a serious OTB game from x/psychic? Great question. What's the most dubious opening I would play? The thing is, like, you're talking serious classical rated 2 hours on your clock against, like, another titled player. Like, they're pretty good. I would play... It's the Göring Gambit here. I would play Alila Gambit for sure. This is a Göring. I might even be. Is Alila Gambit even that dubious? I would play. I'm thinking about a Von Popiel in the right situation. Bishop e7. So Bishop e7 is one of the worst moves in this position because Queen d5 just ends the game pretty quickly, threatening checkmate. As we don the Gambit glasses, getting our Göring, the pro-Danish. It doesn't actually end the game so quickly. They have an option here. Here, takes h6, right? And that reintroduces the mate threat, but without their knight there. It could be stream sniping me right now, but they have castles. I mean, it was their only way to not get checkmated immediately. So now the rook is defending here. Right, the rook is defending here. And my bishop is hanging, and pawn takes b2 is also hanging, threatening to trap my rook. If I solve both those problems at once, and try to stay up a piece, then knight b4 threatens knight c2 check, right? Forking my king and rook. So how do I defend c2 and my queen? I need to come back all the way to d1. That's the only way. But then coming back all the way to d1 invites c2, forking this and getting their piece back. Alas, so the best way to play this would probably be with bishop takes g7, giving the bishop, but defending c takes b2, which would trap my rook and make a queen potentially, so that's a pretty brutal threat. And now, so they should play king. They could play c2, threatening to promote, which is kind of amusing, but I would just kind of get out of the way of that. I guard c1 with either rook. Now I'll just play knight takes c3. So I didn't actually win the piece, but we are even on pawns, and their king looks like that. Okay, bishop e6 is annoying. My queen would have to kind of stay tethered, and there's more, so let's get out the way, and I kind of want to move her in that general direction anyway. Hello, Mr. King. Meet Mrs. Queen. King trying to run. He did not like that meeting. This is totally free. Like, totally free. Potentially better is this idea. Not easily stopped. Also fun is this idea. Not easily stopped. This is the best, though, objectively. Well, they have bishop g4, which is maybe a good move. I would play queen takes g4. I'm going to keep things difficult on them and play this move h4, which is not really necessary, but not obvious what to do now if you're black, because my idea of knight g5 is pretty obvious, and this could just be really bad for them. g5 takes, h takes, and meet more friends. I have lots and lots of friends, including this rook. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, Göring Gambit. That was a Göring Gambit delicacy, folks. A Göring Gambit delicacy. So, why do we love the Göring so? Is because it's the Danish, but just all the best parts of it. Because the Danish Gambit, you just play d4, take c3, and then you hope that they take c3, and that they take b2 maybe as well, and then they don't know any theory, and are just trying to play around this and maybe castle, but then actually get killed on these diagonals. That's what you're hoping for. If black knows what they're doing, they throw in d5 either here, or, you know, in this position, they can go check in d5, or d5 right away, just giving back the pawn, and knowing some theory here, and just like a little bit even, and they'll get out of this. Or they play d5 in this position, and you just get a completely equal position to begin with. If you just include these simple moves, knight to f3 and knight to c6, here is the little known secret that they don't really tell you, that black doesn't have these great defensive options anymore. They can play d5 here, it's true, but when we play bishop d3, I mean, I have a whole video covering all this theory. We play bishop takes e4, and if the knights were back home, then knight to f6 hits our bishop, and we have nothing good to do. Here, the knights are not home. They're developed, and so we can trade castles and still continue to have a lot of fun. Bishop coming to e7 can actually run into some serious problems. You can imagine here, the rook e1 comes, pressure on c6. Okay, if they just try and castle, knight takes c6, forks this and this. Here, we actually win a piece. That's check. Rook takes d1. We are up piece in this position. So they can't really just do that, and it's kind of hard to get out of the opening. typically what happens is they do take on c3, and now after bishop to c4, they don't have this great d5 option. E takes d5 hits the knight. We included these two moves, which are great moves to... Knight f3 is a move you need in the Göring anyway. And yeah, we still have all the... in the Danish anyway. We still have all the great ideas of the Danish, right? It's everything. Knight f3, knight c6, beautiful inclusion. Queen coming to b3, off into attack f7. Castles, we're playing Gambit chess. We're trying to attack the king before castles. My opponent didn't want like a knight f6 move because that is vulnerable to e5 hits, and the knight has to move again very often. So they were trying to like develop this first, which happens. And you can see I've had this a couple times already, including against the 2600 here that I won with this move. Yeah, queen d5. All of a sudden we hit f7, and there's no way to defend it. You blocked your queen's defense, which was already an awkward thing to do, blocking the bishop. But yeah, we're hitting f7. Knight h6 only move. Bishop takes h6, reintroducing the mate threat, so castles. So they're hanging on here. And yeah, it's actually only plus 0.6. It's actually not totally an invalid way to play, because yeah, like I was saying, I can't just save the bishop, c takes b2. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. Rook getting trapped like that with a queen incoming. So, not good. Bishop c1 seems like it deals with that, but yeah, there's knight b4 hitting the queen, and then knight c2 incoming. This is interesting. Queen h5. This is actually not even the best move. They should play d5, getting some development, because if they come take the rook, then we just play this like a gambit. That's pretty based. That's awesome. Love that. So, but okay, we can also just attack for free. Bishop takes g7 is a nice blend through defensive b2, so we gave the bishop, and yeah, we're not even down any material here, and we've got kind of a free attack. So here, queen h5 is a reasonable choice. Okay, it's saying castles was fine. Bishop e6. Okay, just defend it. Whatever, I liked queen to h5. King to h8. I wanted f5 right away. Yeah, king h8. h4 was the best move by a lot. h4 was the best move. It didn't like this because of just something move. I guess, yeah, you know, with like queen e7, okay, it defends h7, and now they've got some dudes cooking here. So this idea of h4, yeah, h7 is very vulnerable, and so here comes an hg5. Not clear how you're defending that, really. I thought like maybe f6. Oh, I can just do this anyway. That's awesome. The rook opens up. No way to defend h7. That's brutal. That's actually really brutal. Love that. So yeah, f5 and hg5, and so here, yeah, I mean they're dead lost anyway. Take h takes g5, queen e7 to not get mated right away. But then the other point of this is that I also have this pawn, so g6, and actually this would be checkmate even on a queen trade because the bishop is controlling there. So this is just super strong stuff, and we ended up checkmating them in 13 moves out of the Göring Gambit in the early rapid arena. Play that opening. Candidate for most dubious OTB attempt. Graf Banko, yes, that is a good choice. I would play that over the board. I absolutely would. Knight f6, a6. I am a big fan. I am a big fan. I just got notified Eric Rosen is live in this arena. That's awesome. I hope I get to play him. How do I get yearly chess to show book moves in the opening? Is it an extension? I'm so glad you asked. Yes. Shout out to SideRight for making the Lichess Tools browser extension, which I am using right now. Also, shout out to the Alphabet Gambit as my opponent immediately takes my pawns. Hard to decline this dude because b5 is threatening to like play b4 and bother your knight, so your knight was moving or it was moving. And here it's going to move more. So d4 looks like it. I mean, it is a good move. It takes some space in the center and prevents me from just kind of running right through you. But I'm going to run right through you anyway. e5. Let's don those Gambit glasses as we offer another pawn. Takes in d4. We're going to keep chasing that knight. Okay, they did not want to accept that. Knight f3, valid. Let's play e4. I got this d5, we got it to e4, and now we've got kind of like a nice Frenchish structure. The issue for them is they're just losing the other knight now. I think just f6. Because it would be one thing if they had the pawn on e3, they would have queen to h5 check, and then knight takes g6. But they don't. Or at least they would have like knight g4. Yeah, so they just had to give it. They gave it for actually, I like that pawn. It's kind of the base of this chain. But yeah, that knight was trapped. It had no squares. But maybe the best thing to do there was e3 takes queen h5, because then I have to move my king. Because if g6 takes e5, I would lose the rook. Anyway, bishop f4 played. So we've got actually... It's kind of funny. I'm kind of missing my whole queen side. and I'm far away from castling kingside. So let's be creative here. Bishop b4 and 87 is probably the best way to go. I could play this ambitiously with like queen b6, knight takes d5, queen a5 check, hitting the knight. Knight back to c3, bishop to b4, bishop to d2. To have a great follow-up there. It's an interesting option. I think best... Well... Okay, you know what? Let's start out with this move, bishop... Well, bishop a6, queen a4... Queen a4 potentially annoying. Okay, let's go here. Like, I was a little wary about putting my king here, because f6 is not a great move to have played. This is the only spot for my king, and I've opened this diagonal. Potentially their queen comes to b3, right? So it's, like, a little awkward. It's not a big deal. I also have to be wary of, like, check here, doing some damage. It's just going to go g6. Okay, the bishop came to b5, and I think simple castle is fine. And I'm up a piece. I'm just going to get out of the opening like that. Okay, so, yeah, we're all good. Queen a5 is valid, bishop a6 valid. Let's go queen a5. Okay, queen a5. Now I'm threatening to take the bishop, take c3 and take the bishop. We no longer need the Gambit glasses if we are a piece ahead. Yeah, queen b3. I guess my plan is take, pawn takes c3, rook b8. I can't play rook b8. Okay, that's fine. I take c6. Okay, that's good. That's pretty much what I wanted to achieve, actually. That is what I wanted to achieve. Got that trade. Yeah, because the queen on b3 actually could have done a number of annoying things. Pin, threatening knight takes e4 as a result. We just have to be a little bit careful there. It was kind of trickier than it might have appeared, but now we're all good. Do I take c3 prematurely? It's kind of an option. Just to... mess with that a little bit. I kind of like that option, honestly. Like, rook c1 was just going to be their next move anyway. And then a3. I like this option. It now just gives me this pawn to hit, and my bishop is going to sit on d3 really nicely. And it just removes any counterplay that white potentially had. Because my point was bishop d3, and I think if they invade, they should run out of squares. I don't have the b8 square. I'm very aware of this. Bishop d3, rook b7, and even just a simple rook a7, right? If you can't put the other rook on b1, that's a big problem. b7, right, like queen a6, what do you do with that rook even? If you go further in, you could... Well, you're not going to get trapped. It's defended on c7. Rook b7, rook a7, then is probably the easiest. The thing about this, though... Okay, they didn't want to do it. Yeah, queen a6, knight a5 was a strong idea. Oops. I like here queen a3, knight a5. Queen a6, knight a5 is also valid. I like this move, queen a3. Rook c8, also a good move. Yeah, I don't have this square. But the queen sits nicely here. There's no rook b3. I would take it. Oh! Rook takes a1 is more than just a queen for two rooks. That is checkmate. Yeah, I mean, not obvious what white does. And the knight was going to really waltz right into c4. Or knight a5. Again, they don't have anything to do that bothers me. They don't have any squares that are annoying. These are controlled by the knight and bishop. And then rook c8 just comes next move. I'll take c3, knight comes to c4. So everything was really pretty there. And we're all good. In fact, this still doesn't make a threat. I can really be a dick about this. It's with a move like rook c8. A takes b3, rook takes a1, king g2, bishop f1 I have. King back, bishop h3, that's checkmate. There was no need for that, but it's fun. There was no need for that, but it's fun. Okay, like queen c2 just to trade. All right. Let's just trade. Yeah, that was a fun alphabet gambit. That was a fun one. Let's make some squares, some invasions. Maybe 3. Continue to farm this pin. I love bishop and knight, or even a pawn and knight in this format, because they take away a lot of squares, right? So like the rook can't attack either of them because they help each other out. Got to run all the way there, and I'll take that pawn for free. Is en passant mandated by law? I can just checkmate you instead. But yes, like I was saying before, shout out to SideRight for the browser extension. Join the Discord for like updates about that. Okay, should I just go here and trade it? And the link to that, I think if you just search Lichess Tools on Chrome extension store, you should get it. You should be able to get it there. I always say that I respect people who play all the way to checkmate. And I always say that I'm lying when I say that. I don't know why people waste my time in the arenas. Alas. Pawn came so close. Main 1? No. Only several mates and 2s. Alright, GG. So, yeah, b5, alphabet gambit. It's a really fun one. Trying to just play b4 next turn. Also, if you check out the full repertoire video of this is a great one. Just against the English. A6, they play knight c3, b5, we're trying to play b4, take, we're still trying to play b4, and we continue to hound this knight. If they didn't play d4, then we'd really be walking it down. The d takes e5 is the main move, d4, and again, we continue to go after this poor dude. But playing e4, whether they play e3, whether they play knight f3, is always fun stuff. And yeah, here I think they just got it trapped real quick. Yeah, I mean, this is already good for me. It didn't like that they didn't accept the second pawn, but that leads to more fun lines that are all covered in the video. But yeah, it's already trapped, and this was all good. I mean, it was all pretty clean from here on. Nice GG. We're rolling. Please do recaps and post gambits. You got it. What's the most obnoxious college in upstate New York? 2015 question mark. Oh, they berserked me. Okay. Gotta respect that. Let's play knight c3. Play pawn c3 next time. e5. Whoa. Okay. I'll go here and d3 and f4 maybe. Could play with f4. Could play with h4. I like h4, honestly. Seems spicy and maybe not what they were expecting. Trying to play h5. I think this was the setup they were trying to go to. And it was a very anti-f5 sort of setup. Whoops. Wait, just make sure the zoom is right. So they're going to give me that. They're not playing h5, which would have handed me the g5 square, right? So I'll take it. So this causes some annoyance here, because I can throw an h6 if I feel like it. I can take here if I feel like it. Gives me several options. Alright, let's do it with several options, really. Bishop g5 with h6 as a follow can be brutal. If I start... Let's see. If I play queen f3 right now, how do you deal with this? Is the other question. h6, bishop f6, then queen f3. Actually seems really bad. What do you do there? Like knight g8? That's good for me. Let's play h6, and I think you need to go with it here. I don't know. You come here and live to tell the tale, because queen f3 hits the bishop in a very awkward square, and somehow coordinating a defense... I'm going to go here. Coordinating a defense of this bishop, even if it had a square it could go to, takes f7 is checkmate. Coordinating a defense of this bishop is very difficult. You need knight g8, which sucks. And then my next move was probably just going to be knight d5 now that I have that square. This is also playable. You can't take it because of f7, but does it have a threat? Maybe not. And they do have knight d4 as a follow-up. So I'm not just going to do that. If I play knight d5, then knight d4... Yeah, okay. Why don't I just play knight e2 then? Because this was going to be annoying, and I don't have an immediate KO here. But... like, I could have, like, tried to open things up and generate a big attack, but I feel like I set them back a lot with this idea. I think it was kind of pretty annoying. So, okay, what's next? g4, g5? Is that out of the question? g4, bishop e6, I suspect. Yes, bishop e6 is their next move. So, how do I make that not playable? Knight d5, bishop e6, takes, gets me nowhere. Takes, queen takes f6 they would play, and they survive. So, g4, bishop e6, g5, take, take. Yeah, they're going to be able to play bishop e6, most likely. And I kind of just need to live with that. Wish I had some time here to think about this position, but I don't. Okay. I think the best is just taking this bishop while I have the chance. So bishop e6, knight takes f6, queen takes f6, and queen g3. This is the best. And then it actually has bishop g5 as a follow, right? I don't know why this didn't occur to me sooner. But yeah, I take this bishop. That was very important for the defense. Now I slide out the way of this queen trade, which I have no interest in, of course. And bishop g5 is extremely strong. It would trap the queen. So if queen e6, if I do it too quickly, so let's recapture first. Castles is still not really on the table. They're defending correctly. If I play bishop g5, they have f6. I think what I want here... Let's go knight c3 and knight d5. Position is good for me. Oh, wow, really? Defended. Here. I wasn't so sure about that decision. Maybe I shouldn't have... I don't know why I gave them this pawn. Maybe it was actually totally fine to take. Yeah, they can just come back. Took them out of this square, but they have just... can just trade off for my knight now. Somehow this isn't what I wanted at all. go. Oh well. Something was amiss in this line. This is a strong idea. A little weird. I was trying to hit the rook and then come back. D3 is better. Okay. I'm going to win this game. I decided. There's no reason I shouldn't win this game. Let's go. Come on. Let's lock in here, William. D6. Can I take D6? Maybe not. Did I have it? I don't know what I would do to get out of that pin. Now, I'm feeling like it should be better, but I don't know why. It's just like D8. I don't know why I thought I'd get away with that. Dumb. I thought this was good. Kind of felt like there should be something. Queen C4 here. No, it's nothing. This was bad. This was +1 if I just kind of... This was a smart idea that I was thinking about. Here, zigzagging the bishop in, and then I could win H7 as a result of this strong pawn, and then work with that guy. Something went wrong in this opening. H6 wasn't the best. I was really trying to do this perfectly. I think I put a lot of pressure on myself to get it really correct. Because castles, see, as a disaster for them. I just mate them. Otherwise, like rook f8. Okay, now I can just pour into h7. Don't know why I didn't do that. I thought this was going to be very effective, but there's no... Like, what I did was good, I guess. But they get away with it. Like, the knight here actually, like, covers some important dark squares, and there's no... Like, the position sucks, but there's no reason they should lose immediately. And I just kind of gave them this pawn because I thought the position was better than it was. I spent too much time. Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, I wish I could have that one back, but that's not how it works. We lost our streak, unfortunately, but we'll get it back. Oh well, oh well. E4 against Diodotos. Bushcast Gambit. Let's go. Okay. What if I do something? H3. Do you want the pawn now? No. Now? No. What about now? No. Now. Okay. They could have just played bishop b3 instead of holding and held, I meant. Would have been a smarter choice. Okay, this is a lot of pressure though, kind of annoying. Kinda need... Well, let's see, if I play bishop e6, they can take it. Not the most comfy. I could do this, pawn takes. They can castle long, but I can attack too. I'll just do that. I need to defend d5. Okay. Okay. Honestly, yeah. Take me. Pawn takes. Let's go. Let's go. Because I can't play queen takes, I would lose this. Otherwise, rook e1 to attack e5 also playable, but I'm playing queen d6. I am fully inviting a trade on f6. So king h8, I got out in front of that. That was the purpose. Queen e2. So the move of h3 on move, like, 3 of this game is proving useful. I recently had a game that looked a lot like this one, honestly. D6 I can play. Yeah, I would love that pin, but I don't have it. Knight D5, I would come back. Defending here. Do they have some D4 thing? Well, not anymore. Right, not anymore. Just play A6. Interesting. Okay, I can't take this. Take E5, right? So I take this one. And that goes back to C3. Attack here. Let's get our queen back into the game. And we're good. D4 is not playable. I control it too well. And A4, I have this nice little storage square. So we defended here, and our next move. So this is what I wanted. Yeah, our next move is rook G8. Here we go. Let's use this file. Well, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, they're trying to fight me on that file. Trying to fight me. Let's bring them all in. Bring them in. That gave me this square, right? If I jump in right now... Oh, it's check. It's check. It's check. Okay. Gotta come here. Alright, but this is coming in, and sacrifices are appealing, and if I trade everything there, this would checkmate them. Got big ideas. G3, I don't know that you want that hanging, even if D5 is hanging. But regardless, okay, knight D4. I mean, all my pieces are doing stuff. In fact, the person who looks the most lazy right now is my queen. Yeah, this is great. G takes F6, suddenly launched an attack. Rook's coming. This is what I wanted. Oh, how's this looking? Rook takes H3, King G2. No obvious follow. I'll just play Rook G8. I mean, this will be here. Or are you playing Knight H2, maybe not get mated? When in any doubt, just move your worst piece. And now I can even achieve my dream if I wanted. Bishop G4 with a pin. And the point of Bishop G4 is my next move is Knight D4, which looks very strong. Using that pin in a really brutal way, attacking the queen. Okay, this is just... I mean, I guess they were just desperate, but it's just hanging. I could even play Bishop takes H3. Rook takes D6, that's checkmate. Double check. Takes, G takes, whoops. Rook takes H3, Knight H2. What do we got? I need to come across somehow, right? Takes H3, take, Rook takes, then H2. It's not a good idea if I don't win right away, because then we would trade here. So let's play like Queen E7 then. Oh, potentially a good move there was Knight D4, Knight takes D4, Bishop takes H3. That actually would have been smart. Okay, we just trade. Now, okay, it's still not really a threat, because they can go Knight H2. But okay, I like that bishop. Knight to H2. They want to play this. So let's jump in. Yeah, this is looking good. I'm already missing my light square bishop, alas. Rook is hanging. Rook H3, GH3, Queen H3. I can never just trade rooks, right? I can't just trade rooks. So let's just... Okay. Let's just not hang the rook. Frustrates me that there's no knockout. I just need to be up a piece. Stop attacking my rook. Oh, nice. Alright, let's go here. And they might just come back. Okay, I need a way to actually win this game. I think that way might just be like taking some stuff. I was not going to checkmate them over here. They have too many defensive resources. I don't know. It's a pawn. Didn't really have a better idea. Queen control on c4. It seems like a generally annoying post. Attacking this. Should I just come back to e6? Probably. Yes. Knight coming to f5 is annoying. So knight oh. Oh no, wait, I can't play queen takes h3. I was thinking if pawn takes, then I could mate here and here. But they have rook takes h3. They have it all covered. Oh, now they don't. Now they don't. Now the knight is hanging. Now h3 is hanging. Finally, we got something cooking. We got something cooking. Yeah, they were hanging on for a while. I don't know. Next time my opponent plays h3, I'm just like gonna play freaking f5. Instead, in the game, we did this. Okay, we got some sort of imbalance out of a symmetrical king's pawn. That was all I was going for, really. And we got g takes f6. Was it good? I think it was pretty good. Yeah, okay, we played well. It didn't even like bishop takes f6. It didn't like a6 either. Did they have some fancy... d4. They had this window to do it. And because the knight is here, even like this window to come back like that. And now white is better. Okay. Tricky stuff. I didn't like king h8. I wanted bishop b6. Just getting out of the way of like center fork tricks takes in d4. Okay, in the game gf6 we recaptured. This was all good stuff. Brought the rooks in. Okay, I mean, their position was very bad. I mean, giving the knight was honestly a practical decision, maybe, because like the sacrifices here were really enticing, and I was gonna play knight d4, distract that guy, win on h3 without an h2 to block it. But when they played this, then I attacked my queen, and then they were able to trade here. Okay, I'm up a piece, but I'm not checkmating them, and so I kind of just had to be okay with that, which I wasn't really until okay, they played g3, and then I had this winning h3. Okay, anyway, GG. Let's get back into the swing of things. Matt Bader, $20 donation. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. Great stream. I've noticed how you often tie down your opponent's pieces so that you have plenty of time to develop a big attack when there isn't a knockout blow. First of all, love the boxing metaphor. Any tips on how to improve this skill? Yes, as I play a 2395 Bomba 555. Great question. Great question. Yeah, I mean, obviously we love the queen sacrifice for checkmate, but that happens more often in fairy tales than in real games, unfortunately. What we're really looking for is, what does my opponent want to do? Wow, they barely got that move off with 1 second, with a single solitary second. What is my opponent's next move? Let's play this line. And how can I stop that? Right? So very often what they want to do next is castles. This is an interesting line. I'm going to play d4 to try and make that weak. cd4. No, I can't go here. Check wins my knight. It's unprotected. So they're rattling this off like it's theory, but I don't even know it. Play knight b3. b4. I can go here. Kind of makes the most sense to me. Not really sure. Trying to long term, this pawn should be weak as long as I hold this blockade. What does my opponent want to do? And then I'm stopping that. I'm not going out of my way like so much. Like, let's say they have like here and here as their options to develop the knight. I'm not just going to play like g5 if it does nothing else and then gives them like the other option. It's kind of a waste of time. I'm still trying to do useful things for me, but I'm trying to take away their options, which also serves the purpose of making them really uncomfortable, not being able to go to your top option. Here I have an interesting line, which is knight takes c6. I guess they can throw this in, but I was going to say pawn takes c6, queen d4, attacking here and here, which is annoying. Takes c3, queen takes c3. Not that that trades, I'm not so excited about it. Baby takes, pawn takes c6. Not super stoked about that. I mean, okay, this is an option for them in most lines. Bishop b5, bishop d7. I think it's interesting. I don't know, with them trying to force pawn takes c3 anyway. I could have played this with queen d2, but then like the knight was coming here. There's a lot to deal with. I like this idea of queen d4 next. I don't know. It's interesting to me. You want to see another match against Leela Rook odds? Oh man. Okay, that was a pretty embarrassing series of games for me. Pawn takes c3 here, I think was a good inclusion. Okay, you done anything creative? All right. Question is my bishop still coming in g2? I mean, like I have other choices, which maybe are worth considering. Bishop g2 and c4 seems like a good combo. Yeah, that's probably what you want to do, right? I was thinking about this, but is this annoying? Did I kind of miss that? It takes away a lot of things I want to do. What would I play here? Because you're doing that, but you're still far from castling yourself. Like, for example, if I play queen g4 in that position, then you play something like queen f6. I play bishop d4. You're overwhelmed on g7 because you're too far from castling. If you gave that pawn, queen takes g7 or g8, that's also an interesting choice. Queen h6. Suddenly, neither of our kings have a safe haven because castling long for me sucks and castling short for me becomes impossible. But yeah, bishop e6. Their other option is to just play the simple knight f6. In that position, would I take the opportunity to play bishop c5 and do that to them? Cut them off. They could do the same. That's an interesting move. Other options include c4 and simply castling. All right, so now I have 6 castles. Let's say we both castle, and then maybe I try this c4 move. I mean, it's just like kind of you're just kind of looking at your classic 2-bishop advantage there. Just a classic 2-bishop advantage. If I'm able to achieve that, and okay, they play something like bishop e6. It's just a bishop pair advantage. It's kind of like the position that Fischer would win 110% of the time. But I'm not sure that I can. I don't know. This would okay. I'm not going to make a decision because I doubt my abilities in 2-bishop positions. I'm just considering whether bishop c5 is better. So knight e4 kind of requires taking it. d4. I want to be very precise here. I have a lot of time on the clock also. d4. It's not a pawn structure that benefits me long term. You're looking at a useless 3 versus 2. And then they would have an advantageous 4 versus 3 on the king side. So this is potentially annoying. Queen e2. I could play it. Bishop e6 breaks the pin. Take e4, queen e4. They could even give that, then play queen d5. And the resulting endgame, even though I'm ahead of pawn, is going to be a draw. Take c, bishop takes d5. I have no winning chances. Realistically, if I just back up, then I think my bishop gets harassed here. Let's say knight e4, bishop a3. Right. It's interesting, honestly. It's quite interesting. Thing is, they can also do the same thing to me. Cut me off from castling, right? Let's say I continue there with queen d4. Okay, they play like queen of 6. Alright, I think... I think this is an interesting choice. Maybe I come to regret this. I'm sure castling the c4 is a pretty nice advantage. But I think this is pretty interesting. I think if we both end up not being able to castle, something like this, queen d4, I think that stands to benefit me. Because I could be safe on c1 if need be in a position like that. And I just don't see the same for them. I do think knight e4 is their best move. They don't have queen a5 at any point. This is a very nice parry. Knight e4, my plan was honestly just bishop a3. I don't know if that's crazy. Like, the other option being, it's not good, right? Trade and queen e7 check, for instance. I could trade... And then even like castle takes d1, rook takes d1, bring these pieces to e1, f1. It is a big initiative entering that endgame, but it is an endgame. Bishop e6 is a very cautious move. That kind of makes me look very smart, I feel like. Now I can play either queen d4 or simply castles. I think queen d4 is very strong. I think this was overly cautious. And they had to strike. Knight e4 is going to play like bishop a3 probably. Now with queen d4, the knight's not moving. g7 is hanging. Alright, knight d7, just take g7. And the king's not moving either. And I've just dominated these dark squares. My last move is bishop c5, queen d4. I feel like I shouldn't have been able to get away with that, so I understand knight e4 is a difficult move to play because I had a lot of good options against that. This looked more solid with knight d7 coming next, and then maybe c5 if you can defend this to block this path. But now this is going to be brutal. King is not castling. That king is not getting out of the middle, and if you want to go that way, be my guest. Be my guest, please. Otherwise, I don't know what you play. Like, what's even an idea for black here? This is worse than it looks for the black side. Bring the queen to c4? No, I don't even... I can't even recommend anything. Honestly, if I were black, I would play knight d7, and after queen takes g7, I would play queen f6. That's honestly what I would do. It's a pawn, but it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. Which begs the question, should I take g7? Or should I just try to keep this brutal diagonal of... I think they would play queen f6, and then they could give that back with c5 if they needed. So knight d7, queen takes g7. Yeah, queen f6. That's what I would do if I were black. Trade, knight takes f6. I could play bishop d4 there. They have king e7. I cannot recommend another move. I don't know. This is so bad. Yeah, king d7, okay. I mean, but now I have c4 whenever I feel like it. I'll feel like it in a moment. First, I'm going to get my own king out of danger. a7 was also hanging. There's no reason I can't just take it. So they defend that. And yeah, let's just play c4. Why wouldn't I play c4? Rook b1 I could play, but then... I mean, okay, there's nothing wrong with rook b1. But let's do this. My opponent offers a draw. That's cute. f4, f5 is also a big idea. f4... Okay, let's play c4, though. Let's keep that on the table. So now... I mean, this is the most obvious breakthrough. Like, pawn trade, in the middle, literally the file where the king is. and they have no route towards safety, they can, yeah, go here in king e8, I was going to say, but it's not going to help them. I can now take and replace the pawn. I can take and replace the pawn. CD5, let's see, C4, king e8. It could be worse for them, right? So I think most effective. Let's play this with f4. This is just so dominant. I have like nothing to worry about in this position. I really have nothing to worry about. There's just nothing they can do. King e8, f5, dc4 hits my queen, but there I was going to go queen to e3, winning this bishop. So, I mean, it's so incredible just how that just changed on a dime. Just the bishop got to c5, and then it just got cemented there. And then these two dudes just controlled the whole board, just completely dominated. And suddenly the position is just impossible to play. It's just impossible. I mean, I think this is a good fight to just kind of like shell up in a ball kind of defense. But I would have rather just gave the pawn back, if not back, but just gave a pawn if I were playing the black pieces. So let's play f5 and let's shrink their ball. What would be beautiful is if I can get here. Potentially just gave them dc4. I actually wasn't even thinking. dc4. Was not even thinking. Well, speaking of chess changing on a dime. Takes, rook takes d4, e7. No, doesn't make any sense. Does it? Okay, they play bishop d5 no matter where I go. I don't even have any useful square for my queen. That's actually such an annoying mistake to have made. Okay. Alright, I'm overstating this. We're just going to move the queen. Bishop d5 is going to come, and I'll just bring a rook to e1 and try to come to e7. I don't know why I'm acting like the world is falling apart. Yes, they nabbed a pawn and got a nice square for their bishop, but I still have a lot of pluses in the position that I had before, I think. Hopefully. Yeah, this is a good square for them to use. That dc4 with tempo. Rook e7. Rook e7 is their queen. Their queen is borderline trapped. It's a nice in-between move. They have to play like queen b8. Right, because knight d5, this is check. Oh, they had that. I didn't even... What's wrong with me? How did I not see that? Yeah, if I just went king takes g2 last move, my position was quite good here. Just king takes g2. What was I going to do? I was just going to eat c4 next turn and things were still great. Yeah, rook e7 was my big blunder here. I'm kind of down a piece. Bishop d5. Do I have some line here with check? No. Takes, or he... They just need to save this. I don't know what I do. Takes d7, knight d7. Rook e8, king here. Queen b4, knight b6. I win there with rook e7 back. So they can't just do that. I guess that's what they're thinking about. Takes, but they can just play queen takes. Then I follow that with rook e7. Queen f5. Suddenly that got spicy. I play queen a5. Yeah, wait, I have serious ideas here. Knight takes d7. It's kind of all forced, right? Rook e8, king b7, queen b4. And they're doing it. What did they see that I didn't? Queen takes, I think this was dangerous. Queen takes f5. There's no immediate check there. Now queen a5. I don't know. It has a couple mate threats. It's been kind of a wild game. Queen a5, they play knight d7. And then what is happening? And then I play bishop d6. And I would win. Do they have to lose their queen here? What's their other option? Queen d8. I would play queen a3, trying to come in there. They would play... Okay, they counterattack my queen. But I have here queen a5. Wait. They're trying to, like, get a lot for their queen. Somehow. They're trying to sacrifice... Okay, they're gonna have to give their queen when they take c5. I think that was their plan anyway. I could have been on a5 for that position, but then I wouldn't have grabbed g7 at the end of the line, which I think is important. Oh. I'm just winning. Check. Take the rook. Why did I win this game? I am befuddled. Can I win this knight? King f8, this. I'll win this pawn. This is a confusing sort of game. I don't really know what to say. Okay, we won. What happened here? Maybe I played better than I thought I did. Maybe I played better than I thought I did. Okay. I played way better than I thought I did. Oh no, it's still tallying up my blunders. You wish you could hear me louder? How's this? I do agree that offering a draw there was in bad taste. But this was a wild up and down sort of game. So we had an interesting opening. Trade d4. Trying to blockade this pawn. Trying to make that pawn weak so that it couldn't go to d4, be defended by its friend, right? So a pawn that can't be defended by a fellow pawn is often a weak dude if you can blockade it. So we had an interesting sort of opening, and I kind of like this decision to play knight takes c6 because I was able, yeah, if they played pawn takes, I was playing queen d4, which the engine does not approve of because of this. Oh, and it would trap my queen. So that's actually a really nice way to deal with it. So queen d4 was not very effective. You can see the gap between the best move and the second best move. Neither of us saw that, so he threw in this, and I was able to trade off for their dark square bishop. Keep that in mind. That dark square bishop turned out to be very, very important because I would go on to dominate these dark squares. Just bishop g2, knight f6. And now here, I think for a while, yeah, I could just play castles, and then I have a slight pull after something like here, 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 maybe c4 I could try, right? Okay, here, bishop a6 pins to my rook. In the game, I played bishop c5, which is a nice choice. And yeah, it's saying, yeah, look at that gap, knight e4 and the next best move. Knight e4 is a very, very important choice here because, yeah, this can be really brutal. The bishop along here, or queen or whatever, controlling that diagonal, stopping you from castling, If you can't block that, that's brutal. That just keeps you in the middle for a long time and also controls that square, which could be, the critical one you need to block with. But that, yeah, it'll just keep you in the middle forever. So throwing in this, I think, was very necessary, as, if my bishop just moves away or something, okay, I mean, that's possible, but now it gives ideas to arrange a blockade, but at least some, like, counterplay in the middle of the board for black. My opponent's just playing, like, bishop e6, just kind of, like, patching up la-di-da-di-da, but now after, like, queen d4, knight is tied down, doesn't have knight d7 to bother me, because, although, yeah, this is what I was saying, that I think you should go for this and try to save this endgame. It's better than the horrible position you have to defend otherwise. Okay, you're down a pawn, right? But, yeah, so the knight's tied down otherwise, and queen and bishop just are against these light square pawns and light square bishop, and then the knight that can't help. I just have total domination over the dark squares. You don't have your dark square bishop. There's really nothing you can do. It's hard to recommend any move. Yeah, other than knight d7, the next best move is h5. Just to, like, move this rook. There's no other way for it to get in the game. Well, there's one other way. King d7, what they played, and then trying to, like, defend some things. So king d7, queen c7, just trying to find any squares, defending a7, but this looks very, very bad for white. So I play here c4, very logical choice, just trying to generally put ideas on the table of opening things where their king is. C takes d5 I can play and always replace that guy, really blow it open when my rooks are ready. Rook d8, f4, throwing in another annoying idea here, trying to play f5, trapping the bishop and everything. Making that bishop move, looking to the e7 square. Even better idea was, okay, like first here, and then, okay, other ideas can follow. In the game, king c8, and I was totally oblivious when I played here f5 to this fact that they could play dc4 first, and they're attacking my queen. So, totally oblivious to that. King c8 just changes everything. It creates squares for the bishop, it opens the rook onto the queen, and it makes f takes e6 not check. So, everything changes, and I just kind of played f5 really quickly. Better here was to just play c takes d5 and not give them that. And I continue to have a very large advantage as, their position sucks. Just king safety-wise, right? In the game, f5, d takes c4, things change. They are ahead of pawn technically, and yeah, after queen c3, bishop d5, it's a little bit more solid for them. But okay, it's still plus 0.2 for me. I play rook e1, taking control of the e4 square that the knight could have fork-ished me on after like a trade of bishops, and also looking at rook e7, which is a very powerful invasion. They take on g2. Better was, I guess, just bring that guy into the game. They take on g2, and I do this boneheaded rook e7 inclusion. Yeah, I mean, I thought that would be a good idea. Better was just king takes g2, and this position is actually very nice, and I was remarking on this during the game. Nothing's going to stop me from eating that pawn whenever I feel like it. Rook e7 is an option, files are an option, and, I could probably parlay my big press on their king into maybe winning some of these pawns at minimum. But, yeah, it's hard to... It's really tricky to play for black. Big discrepancy again in king safeties, even though I moved that f-pawn, which could open things up onto my king. That's not what I did. I played rook e7 because I thought this was brilliant. Like, I thought, okay, their queen has to move, and now, yeah, I was going to play queen takes c4. I was going to keep delaying this, threatening queen a6. Alas, it was not to be, because the simple rook d7 is now threatening to take my rook. It has two attackers there, and if I take here, then, okay, I thought knight takes d7. Okay, queen takes d7 is just trickery because of check winning this. But, okay, knight takes d7, and then I am just going to be down a piece here with both our bishops hanging. So, not fun. So I had to get creative here, but rook e7 was the serious blunder, and f5 also was a serious blunder. Missing d takes c4 and missing rook d7. I guess blunders come in pairs. Rook d7, rook e1, just trying to bring that into the game. Bishop d5, rook takes d7, which wasn't even a good choice, but it set a trap for them. So you got to be very careful here if you're black, and my opponent was starting to spend a lot of time. So king takes d7 is out of the question. This is check, winning the queen. Knight takes d7, also no good, because I was going to go check, king b7, check, and now if the king moves, I am able to take the rook at minimum. So if knight b6, the rook can now come back to e7, winning the queen. This is the line that my opponent and I were looking at during the game. So it forces queen takes d7 by that logic. And after rook to e7, black needs to continue to find some tough defensive resources. This is a really nice move that I would not have found if not for the engine. It's rook b8. Just ignoring this, the point being that f2 is my only square here, and if I have, controlled, if I have to go to f2, then they can win back the queen and just be up a piece in the endgame. That is actually a really, really nice resource. Rook b8, very hard to find over the board. Otherwise, they need queen d8, because queen takes f5 looks like was like the only move I guess either of us were looking at. Queen takes f5, but after queen a, it also looks good. Like, it looks like you're checkmating me soon. Queen's coming to g2 imminently, or like anywhere, and I would be dead. But my queen actually comes to them first, threatening queen c7 and queen a6, and you can't defend them both. It's saying this is the only move. Right, so knight d7, you can go, yeah, check, and winning the game shortly. So, not an option. But queen d8 they can play, and they still have things largely defended. I can't come in there. Rook b8, so they're doing okay. Yeah, then they have this resource, check in here, right? So my king is not safe either. Yeah, I'm just kind of running out of pieces there. They play knight e4, which is an interesting idea, totally valid. And yeah, so knight f6 here, I thought their big idea, especially like if I do something like queen a5 with obvious checkmating ideas, like here, obviously you can't do something like this. I just checkmate you. Here and here, their point was going to be knight takes c5. Knight takes c5, and then, so now I take here, knight takes, and then they would have 3 pieces for the queen, and they'd be doing okay. That's why I chose the e5 square, because I thought they would be doing this anyway. Takes, takes, and I want my queen here, in which case I would have actually queen to e8. Winning one of these pieces. The king can only defend one of them, right? King takes d7, also possible, but then I would take g7. Okay, king takes d7, much better. But I was going to take g7 in that case. At least I'd have something. But this is very good for black. They got 3 solid pieces for the queen. In the game, just knight f6, which is kind of inexplicable, because I thought they'd take the bishop. But they were very low on time, and maybe wouldn't have changed the outcome as a result. But, yeah, a wild game. I think there was some quality chess around here. I think this was a really nice idea, bishop c5, queen d4, and just kind of showed how bad their position was. Unfortunately, I couldn't really fully demonstrate the point because I had a pair of blunders here. But I don't know, an interesting game against a strong opponent. Let's get back to it. Please louder, not in a sexy way. I'm crushed by the latter half of that comment. Okay, I will talk right into this microphone. How's this? I'll just keep this right at my mouth. Again, not in a sexy way. Windbush gas? Soon, soon, soon. Soon, soon, soon. I see Eric Rosen is streaming. Why doesn't it say I'm streaming? I am streaming. Wigglator. Let me know how the audio is now, guys. Okay, I am streaming. Let's berserk. Let's get back in the swing of things. Bishop c5. Standings in this arena. Leader is at 79 points. I don't know how many points I have. Is the audio better now? If not, I can mess with the settings in Streamlabs. My opponent still not wanting this, but we can go back to our favorite gambit of insisting they take on e5. I've gotten this actually a few times. No, it's not to be. It's not to be. I think the issue is if I play d5 now, bishop b3, there's really just nothing there. It presents some targets, so I'm actually going to play with d6, unfortunately. I gave them like 6 opportunities to take e5. They didn't want it. All of them were probably pluses, according to the engine. I hope you're enjoying your ASMR. What do ASMR people say? They like make noises with their mouth? Alright. Let's go bishop g4. Give this pin. I want this knight to bother that knight. It's really going to be the big goal. Knight d7 now, finish our development. Recapture on c5 would be nice, because then I can reroute that guy to d4, f4. And in particular, if you take it, then f takes e6 opens the rook onto that knight. Particularly, this knight should have been on d2. They're able to untangle anyway. It's fine. Ooh. Oh, no, d5. This is hanging. And if I take queen takes f... So, okay, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Yeah, let's go here. I think they should take it, honestly. Knight is dangerous. I'm threatening now. Potentially d5 takes, bishop moves, d4 with a fork. But there's some wrenches in this plan. d5. There's no wrenches. Knight e5, I take it. It's defended. d5 take. We're all good. This should win. Attack the bishop, and then fork. Yeah, they should have been on d2, in which case the bishop on g4 can get hit by a nice maneuver of knight f1, knight g3, hitting the bishop again and just running it out of rope along this diagonal. That's really the best way to counter that pin. Hi, Casil. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. cd5. We are attacking this bishop. And just d4. Big fork coming. 1 second. Okay, I'm opening my window. It's actually a nice day here in New York City. Hopefully, the sights and sounds of it won't become awkward on stream. Yeah, we totally got him. White needed bishop takes e6, really. F takes e6. Knight d2. Right, they'd sidestep the pin. d5. Queen g3 to not get forked. Pawn structure is not so hot. If they take it, okay, then it's very pretty. But they don't have to take it. They can hold that. Otherwise, even if I didn't have this, knight jumping into f4 would have been effective, along with the bishop. Puts a lot of pressure on these guys on the late squares. That's a kind of a killer combo. My opponent's thinking for a while here. But yeah, they're just dropping a piece pretty cleanly. This Saturday at Gleason's Gym in New York City, I have a big chess boxing event. I'm very excited about it. I can drop the link to it. If you live in the area, you should definitely come and watch me chess box and learn about chess boxing. It's pretty awesome. My next big goal. To be the chess boxing world champion. I have my choice of pieces here. d4 with a fork, or just taking this bishop, which is probably simplest. Definitely simplest. Probably best. Okay. They recapture. I'll just play something like rook e8. d4 also strong. Annoying thing to defend. Is that a square? Maybe. Maybe. I have a lot of options against that. This is a move. It's a fun one. Not super necessary, but comes across to a lot of... I don't know. The world is my oyster. It can come anywhere. This is interesting because you can't take it because this would be a fork. Bishop e2 rook e1. And then like rook e6. Bishop e2 rook e1 h5. Queen g5. Knight f3. Very unnecessary stuff. I should probably just move it. Okay, let's go here. Did I have something trickier like knight f5? Knight f5, queen f4. No, this is good. Bishop e2, rook e1. And I like this. I like this sort of coming all the way around. Just for some extra support. Knight e3 playable. I'd probably just come out. And we're ahead a piece. f3 trying to jam me in. Now what I'm thinking is bring a knight here. So like knight f5. Start. Well, knight f5. Well, we should be careful. Let's start with knight h5. Because this guy wasn't really doing anything. Potentially an important defender. So they're playing queen f2. And my point was that I could even play knight f5 here. Because we can make a long series of trades. And then knight g3 check would fork. I should probably use a different piece such as the queen to help me with that. For example, queen g5. This would hang this. So let's play bishop f3, gf3. Take. Well, there's also no threat in the position. Not at all. Let's play b5 then. Because I can. This is defended from the knights. And the move I want to play is queen d6. I guess they have knight e4. Maybe knight d2. Something I might play then. Again, speaking of taking away their ideas, f5. Knight e4 was their big idea. And it's hard to recommend a move for white. They don't have access to any square. What square in like this whole vicinity can you move a piece to? None of their pieces can move. They don't have any squares. You can even play b4 to chase that away further. Yeah, kind of tough. Something I might want to do is queen d6, knight g3, king g1, and then play b4, chasing the knight away. And then I would bring this knight into e2. Ooh. Sounds like desperation. So I could just move the knight, but I do have some tactics here. But I could just move the knight. Knight takes f3 was working. Gh5 I would take here. Otherwise recapture, bishop takes f3. And there's too much pressure on e1. But this, yeah, they just got desperate. This happens. This happens when you can't move. I think like this is probably the quickest way to It happens when you can't move. You like just try to do something. You just try to do something. Let's go queen g5. Queen d6 probably better. d6. Queen g5, yeah, h4. But there was rook h6, so it's probably actually even better to go to g5. But they are tied down. And knight takes f3 is still a working tactic. Takes, bishop takes f3. I just think rook h6 is even stronger. Well, rook h6 now there's h4 potentially. Okay. They were looking at this. We're very low on time here. Honestly, that was valid. Just trying to get them on the H line. Knight takes h5, right? Very poor time management. But it's winning. Oh, wait. What? How did I not see that? Oh, man. What? I didn't see that at all. Very, very bad time management. Don't know what I'm doing. This is my next move. Whoa. Oh, they made one. Oh! I flagged them? It's so ridiculous. I flagged them with 0.09 seconds. Okay. Well, anyway. Sometimes non-increment chess, this just happens after a bitter battle of me trying to break through their defenses and slowly wearing them down. It just kind of ended in, okay, -7, -8. Jesus Christ. This was the knight. Oh, that was my confusion. I was like, why isn't this mate? It's because this knight had been controlling here forever, and I didn't internalize the knight was, like, not there anymore. So, okay, I mean, it's all still winning. Like, it's crazy just how good this position is. But, okay, rook e3 was actually a very nice finish, because this is checkmate. With the knight still there. Anyway, well, I'm not sure I should have won this game, but I'm not really sure what to say. I berserked, obviously. This was main one. This was main one. They went there, I went here. Blundering main one again, but they flagged, so I won, maybe. Jake Biederman, unbelievable flag, good W. I agree with the first part of that sentence. Thank you. Very funny. Thank you guys. It's a 4-way fork. How you doing? We're double streaming. We have the Zoomer format on YouTube Live and the Boomer format, that is to say horizontal, on Twitch. What I would really love, and I think this is possible, but it is probably a little tricky to implement, is if YouTube could make a feature because I have the dual outputs. I set them both up here in Streamlabs. If YouTube could add a feature wherein the user can just select horizontal or vertical. Is that so complicated? I don't know any other streaming service that does that. Like TikTok Live or Instagram Live or any of those. That's obviously all vertical. Twitch is just whatever you make it. Göring Gambit. They think they can decline it. It's cute. Another strong opponent here in the arena. Here we go. Gambit glasses on. Göring Gambit. Bishop takes e4. This is one of the top engine ways to play against it. And typically people used to the Danish just d4 right away. Take c3, or like d5 is just an easy way to just not deal with anything in the Danish. In this position, if the knights were back home, then just knight f6, and I wouldn't have bishop takes c6. Here they're throwing in d3. Okay, I'll just castle. I can take this pawn if I feel like it. Okay, so I could just take here, bishop e7, and I'm probably just a little bit better in that position. Let's say queen c2, castles, and like rook d1 or bishop g5. Alternatively, I can play something a bit spicier. Like this. I'm going to try to make it difficult for them to just kind of castle and ignore everything I'm doing. That's the goal here. So, I don't know what they're thinking about. Kind of only have one move. But my next move is going to be knight d4. Still down a pawn. Gambit glasses stay on. Bishop takes d3 was probably just like a... Well, it's definitely a much safer bet. I was going to say probably the engine wreck. Knight d4. So now if you just, like... I'm just trying to take away the most obvious option. That's all I really try to do. So bishop e7. Now, for example, like rook e1, castles, knight takes c6. There's a fork here, and I would win that. I still feel like I'm picking up d3 at a minimum. If you play c5, I would go check. No bishop e6 because of the knight. Bishop e7, knight c6. So I feel like you need to keep the knight out of c6. It's too brutal. You play like bishop d7. Okay. Well, now I go back to the drawing board. How do I stop this from being your next two moves? It's tough because I really don't have much development. I think the move, honestly, would be queen f3. Bishop e7, knight takes c6. Raises some more questions about what you're doing to get out of the middle. Takes, queen takes c6. And you don't have queen d7 because the rook hangs. So if we follow that whole line, like let's say you played c5 there, still knight c6. It's actually really annoying, a knight just coming into c6 along with this e line. So what's my opponent's thinking about right now? If I were black, would I just try to ignore everything? Here, rook e1, maybe like king f8? Can you just say screw it? Maybe I would pick up two pawns. I think like maybe you have some counterplay here. Hard to say. Queen d5 is another option. Rook e1, bishop e7. The thing is, in that position, if the bishop's not protected, then you're not threatening to castle. If you start with c5, rook e1, and you just kind of say like bishop e6, take, king f7. It's playable. Rook is hit. I don't have an obvious follow, and maybe you could play c4. But I understand why black's thinking a lot. I've made this very difficult on them. Out of the Göring here with this knight coming to c6. Yeah, they tried to really simplify things with d3. You know, like you'd think knight f6 just kind of allows you to not deal with anything? In fact, you have to deal with a lot. Because of the issue is, right, if it were a Danish, black is just much, much better. But the fact that I have this bishop takes c6 resource castles just makes this all the more fun. So my opponent's still thinking here. What's my Twitch handle? WGrafe. The link should be in the description right now to twitch.tv/WGRAIF. So they go with bishop d6 in the end. So I'll probably give them this check. Well, that's the question, actually. Are you playing bishop e6? Knight e6, fe6, rook e6. And like a king move. But then I just come back, rook e3, right? I could also start with knight c6, queen d7, rook e1. This is also good, king f8. Knight e5, right somewhere. Knight e5. So then they need to trade. Position looks kind of ugly for them. I'm gonna start them off with rook e1. I'll give them this option. I don't think it's a good one. I'm just gonna trade it here. Rook takes e6. I think they should choose the king f8 option. King d7. No. It's just here. I'm gonna mate you. Bishop e7, of course, loses to knight takes c6. So, yeah, I made this position very uncomfortable on my opponent. I respect that they're just like, you know, I can't defend this stuff. I'm not castling, whatever. Let me put my bishop on a good square and stop getting hit by this knight on e7. So, you know, they're not just folding over. If I take this and then run away, probably the best option because the bishop is good. My concern is, like, after trade, is this pawn going to be good? Okay, let's take this pawn, though. Alright, Gambit glasses come off as the material evens. E5 trade. Or we can play this with knight b4, also trade. Is it better to go c takes b4? Maybe. Maybe that's preferable. No, I feel like they might have some stuff in this general direction. So let's just make this trade. I don't think... I was thinking queen f5, knight takes d3. I'm good. Knight is holding on to f2, so knight g4, h3. I'm not just losing here. It's interesting. Try. I could go queen f3 in the worst case scenario. But, oh no, I also have queen takes d3. So we're totally good, actually. They need to take my knight. So, yeah, I trade off for that bishop and should be all good. You know, we came out of the opening definitely with a king safety advantage. Number one, my king is castled and they had to play king f8. That's a victory. And then it's like from there, okay, you know, the big X factor in this position is the d3 pawn. Is it a weakness or is it a strength? For me, there's a high floor for the d3 pawn. The floor being it's not just going to, like, push and run me over. I can't imagine it ever getting to d2 in a situation of, especially opposite colored bishops like this. The worst it could do is just kind of sit there in my face and I'm never going to be able to win it. Which I can live with. And I'll just move around it for now. I'll play bishop out, I'll put my knight on d2. So I'm okay if I don't win it, and like especially if they have to do something like this and tie themselves down to it, then we can operate around that guy. Otherwise, yeah, this bishop trading off really limits the power in their position, but there's nothing to do otherwise. Like, they were looking at, like, some big ideas around kind of my generally empty king. We were able to grab c6 and then run away. I think it was important that I didn't go for queen takes d3, because I think after, like, c5, bishop b7, this stuff, or the bishop even this way, then the bishops point nicely at my king. Queen f5 I don't think was possible. I think now queen takes d3. Bishop e5, take, rook e5, unless they were, like, gambiting that. I'm trying to come to d1. Alright, well, I don't have too much of a choice here. Knight takes d3, it would be worse to keep the queens on. Can they dodge this trade? But then I would play bishop f4 most likely. So I understand they've got a lot of pieces in aggressive posts, but I'm able, with this nice move, queen takes d3. So obviously trade would be great. And they have a bishop pair, yes, but I'm also up a clean pawn. And their initiative can't be too great if their rooks are doing nothing, right? Importantly, like, if they were castled here, okay, this could be a very different conversation about any sort of endgame we're facing, or, like, pins down this E line, because I also have poor development. But with this move, queen takes d3, should be fine. I think, yeah, it's going to say, oh, they have bishop takes h2, I didn't even see this. I didn't even see this. So I'm not going to be up a pawn then. Queen d8 and 88. There's no follow-up there. I'm just down a piece. Okay. Yeah, they have takes h2, and I totally forgot about that move. Okay. Well, then we reach this endgame where I suppose some of their pieces are not ideally placed. He says, hopefully. But not really what I was trying to achieve. Bishop f4 and d5. It's trying to make that ineffective somehow. Like some sort of bishop g3 threatening rook e5, or threatening c4. Question is, do I have to play c4 first myself? I think this is fine, also because I need this square for my knight, and then this is a better structure than having to deal with, like, rook b8 and attacks. So I think this is in general a useful move here. What's going on? Who ate well subscribed with Prime. Shout out to Who ate well. Thank you so much for the sub. Can't see the whole board on YouTube. How about now? Okay, rook e8 played. That is a good choice. That is a good choice. Because now they're going to play king takes e8 and then try to run away a little bit. I think by that logic, the most annoying move I can play is bishop e3. Oh, I forgot this is check. Not smart at all. Okay. My king's still on h2. That's actually really annoying to deal with. That was not smart by me. Okay. Whoops. Alright, let's play rook takes. Yeah, I had an advantage going into that endgame a little bit, but that was not good. That is surprising. And now it's just dead equal, I suppose. I guess my knight had some ideas, but I mean, I think they could have been a little bit more ambitious. Rook d5, rook a6. think we need to try to use this majority. Just like try to push c5 or k6, a4, k5 and c6, right? If I can get the pawn to c6 and play rook d7, obviously that's huge. So it's gonna be my goal. And then here. Otherwise, okay, they shift over there, and let's try to push. You're gonna just keep checking me? I can come to d5 or d4. Okay. I gave you that. I was willing to make that trade. c6, or do I play a4 first? a4, rook g2, c6, h5, c7, e6. I think this is stronger if I play first a4. Maybe I should have just done this. No, maybe I won't. Okay, well they do this. I think it's strong. If you go, do I win this race? Here, takes, here, takes, here. Okay, we're just gonna race. Okay, 7h3, 7h3, c7. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go, yeah, probably with rook c8, right? And I gotta come around. Potentially this is bad. Let's defend this guy. How's this check? I did this in a bad order. Forgot about this resource. Let's go here. Did this in a not smart move order. You need to not lose that. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to draw this game. Which I should be able to do with like rook f8 and a fork. If rook takes c6, they can play. Yeah, rook takes c6 and rook c7, right? So I should go here. Okay, I mean, objectively this is drawn, but obviously not the most fun side to be playing. I'm not sure how they're making progress. Should I try to flag them? Oh! Oh my god. I meant to go to c6. What? Okay. Not the best game. Not the best game for a few reasons. Jesus Christ. The beginning, I think, was good. I liked how I handled this. Set here, queen d7. Defends most things. What if I went like here? Just this. I guess so, okay. This was good for me. This endgame should have been very nice. I mean, this was just not a good move because of knight g4 check. But I liked, yeah, here, okay, like f3, keeping their stuff away. My position's very pleasant, and we've got some weaknesses. I would have loved to play that. Unfortunately, this happened, and just play bishop takes b1, just totally taking most dynamism out of the position. And I went for some ambitious try here. This is all still equal. This was a big mistake. Just playing rook h8. Yeah, well, rook h8 again takes the dynamism out of the position, right? Because we can just trade h for c, and then, okay, obviously it's a dead draw. I tried to, like, hold that guy, but, okay, completely missed rook g4. I wanted, like, b5 and rook h8 together, which would have been fine. But, yeah, this was a problem. This could have just killed me, apparently. Okay, well, weird sort of draw. It was a pleasure getting obliterated by me before. GG. That's such a nice comment. GG to you, sir. What game was that? Obliterated a lot of people. It doesn't narrow it down. No. What happened in our game? I don't know. I'm trying to resize this so those of you with, like, the small phones or something can see. Or however YouTube is sizing this. I don't know. Let me know if, like, the board is still cut off for some of y'all. So many people are writing in the chat just asking their opponents to resign in an arena, which is pretty funny. Igor Ivanov, 2007. Russian child prodigy. Getting hit with. I mean, to say your name and the year you're born in an online username, like, not super advisable. Not super advisable. Grafe Banko, this is all theory. This is all from the video. Yeah, it looks symmetrical, but it's not. This a6 move is actually quite useful. Still all from the video. It's a miracle I remember this. Yeah, we could trade queens, and it's a pretty nice endgame. But there's also... we could just, like, not trade queens. It's also an option. Generally, it's nice to be the one to force king takes d1. But they're... okay, their king is going to be fine there. Like, I would play f6 or something, you know, and it is what it is. But my queen just comes to c7. Bishop can come to e6 right now. Nice e6. Nothing wrong with this move. I mean, these are all... okay. I'll come here. Queen on c7, doing a great job, defending lots of things. Queen b3 wasn't necessary, honestly. If white just played, like, bishop e2, I wasn't going to take it. Because then, like, bishop d2, I come back. Maybe they get some comp, they castle quickly. Now they're, what, they're going to tie themselves down to this? I mean, be my guest. But, like I said, not necessary. Lots of options again. Knight out, bishop somewhere, f6, just to keep that away. Knight g5 is kind of annoying. I don't know. Should I just take it away? Okay. If you insist. h6, f6. f6. Well, no, actually, I'm just gonna come here. Nope, changed my mind again. I'm coming here. Now we figured it out. Alright, yeah, knight g5, I'm just gonna move it. Yeah, I mean, that was the reason I would go elsewhere. Honestly, I think it's fine. We're just gonna castle. Rook b1, b5. Bishop b6. What's this, right? Just gonna move my queen. So go there. Knight d7 or c6? Let's go to d7. For reasons discussed. It's like the b6 square, the c line. If they go with knight g5, yeah, I mean, I would have bishop c4 among other choices. Okay, knight g5 shouldn't really be bothersome. It really shouldn't. Well, okay. I have a few options. Let me think. I want to play rook c8. I want to control the square. I was also thinking about using this one. All right, let's go here. Well, what do I do with knight g5 then? By that logic, this is the best move. Because it hits e4. This is a trade I'm happy with. If knight g5 comes at the end of that, I will just slide out the way. So, this is a good move. This is a good move. Also, it defends b7, any b5, there's no a4. Yes, it blocks me, but it does a lot of good things. It does a lot of good things. And it's okay, it asks you this question, how are you dealing with this? Otherwise, yeah, gotta give your best piece, and I'd be very happy to play with that 2-bishop advantage. The Bush Gas game, nice. Still, actually, which one? I played a few Bush Gases. Did you accept it? Love from India. Aw. Love to you. What time is it there, man? It's gotta be 12 hours ahead. It's gotta be 5 a.m. Yeah, is that right? Are you that much of an early bird or that much of a night owl? Could go either way. I guess the thing about having the time standard, right? It's just Indian Standard Time. It's time standardized across the whole country. Is that it could be very different ranges of sunlight hours. Like 5 p.m. could be very dark in one place, but still very bright in another within the country. It stretches so far. I think. I don't know. I feel like it's got to be at least 3 time zones. Maybe 4. I like this, though. We're just going to try to press our edge with just playing against an isolated pawn. Love from India. Love to India. I love how popular chess has gotten there. I think it's great. Shout out to Vishy and Chess Base India, Sagar Shah, and Kukesh, obviously. What a superstar. I mean, to have like the coolest people in your media environment be chess players is quite the hard pivot from when I was growing up. William Grafe was not cool in high school. He was cool in college. But c4, queen takes c5. Takes, knight takes c5, bishop f6. But I love that, honestly. And I think it's a great example because even if you aren't the world champion, worst comes to worst, you've played a game that benefits you mentally a great deal. There's a number of excellent developmental benefits. Cognitively, creatively, work ethic wise, you know? So yeah, keep up the great work. I mean, it's really why I'm so passionate about chess. It's not because I'm going to be the world champion anymore, but it's because I love the game and I think it's great. Pressure on b7. I think just simple rook d7 keeps that very nice. So they've had to play this move c4. We've kept our structure very solid. Simple f6 has taken away knight g5 and knight e5. So knight came back here a little awkwardly, defending e4. Rook d7, another very useful, solid move. Bishop b6 is never going to be a problem. b7 is never really going to be a problem. This rook is going to swing into the game either here or here, whichever seems more annoying for white. And hard to say what white does next. Is this a reasonable breakthrough? I would probably not react to it. Queen b6. So this is hanging, right? Otherwise, like, trade and knight a4 would be easy, but this is hanging. So something I could do is, like, king f7. Speaking of playing very solid. But let's see what we got. Bishop d8 is an option, because in that line there, takes d2 hangs, right? So trade, bishop d8, rook goes away. It's fine. They're threatening take c5, of course, and winning this. Let's play like this solid move, but then f4 comes, right? I like this, though. Maybe I just kind of invite this, but we're just trying to not lose this, so take c5 I can recapture. Trade on c7 is nice. I don't know if it was the best move in the world, but it was a move. It was 2:32 a.m. Huh. Thought it was way further. Yeah, so f4. Let's go takes. Knight a4. I like this a lot. Now we've got some options cooking. Maybe I should have taken it first, because then maybe they would have went bishop takes and invited some nice ideas. f4, I think it was totally reasonable. King f7 kind of baited it a little bit. Where do you go? So let's say b3. But then you run into some problems. For example, bishop c5 takes, and then rook takes d2. And all of a sudden you got your both bishops hanging in that position, right? Or, well, I would now have this hang with check, interestingly. Should I start with e takes f4? Bishop takes f4. I could start with this. Let's go bishop c5, though. So I'm threatening rook takes d2. Right? If you just take care of rook takes d2. You have f5, which actually traps my bishop. I didn't really see this. Rook takes d2. If rook takes b7, then bishop d7, and I'm ahead. So f5, rook takes d2. Takes, king takes. And also, there's no way for the rook to grab b7. It's tight down to the defense here. And if you trade, knight takes would defend it. So this is just hanging. Knight should be coming to f3 for this anyway. Oh, that does nothing to stop rook takes d2. Yeah, nice. Got away with that one there. But I think this was generally well played by me anyway. Can we get an analysis going? I think this was generally a good example of white selected a solid option to play against the Grave Banko. This very tricky move with a6. Very tricky move with a6. Point being that knight c3, we play c5. And now if d5, which is the very common response, c5, d5, we jump with b5. And suddenly, it's very hard to decline this gambit of, like, this pawn's going to come to b4. We're playing e6, also chipping away at this, so if the knight's not there, defending squares in the middle, you know, where you're really going. Obviously, this is all covered in the original video on the Grave Banko Gambit and all the tricks and traps of this move order. White played one option here, which is knight f3. But yeah, d5, b5. Here we can force an excellent version of the Banko Gambit with e6, and there's a number of ways white can go wrong with d6, with takes a knight d6 check. All these are actually bad moves and lose very quickly. So this is really fun stuff and gets kind of all the tries to get all the best possible transpositions out of the Banko Gambit by playing it in this awkward move order of knight f6 and then a6, and explain why we do all that. Knight f3 is another option, trying to take advantage of the fact that maybe, okay, this is a useless move, and white should have a development advantage here. And if, indeed, if black just kind of does nothing, then after e4, white has kind of like a nice Maroczy bind, or they can even play like g3 and also have a nice position. But we have this opportunity to play d5 right now before you add any further control of that. And this is quite nice, because if you defend this here, we have like the option to take it and use the fact that we played a6 to play this, and bishop comes there, or even like e5 and b5. So like, you know, all the pieces are coming actually to quite nice squares in this line. C takes d5 is another choice, but after knight takes d5, our move of pawn to a6 is actually quite useful here. We're threatening knight takes e3 and e5. Not obvious what to do about this if you're white. I mean, you can trade, and then the queen actually sits quite nicely here. And again, like, okay, e5 is an option. You don't have like annoying ways to pour into b5 and potentially into c7. This pawn on a6 is tremendously useful, and the fact that they have knight c3 instead of that is actually presents a hook for us to create a weakness. And in this position, this is already for choice for black. Never sacrificed a pawn, so it's not like a gambit. You know, my gambit glasses are still on top of my head rather than over my eyes. But we play here queen c7. Queen sits very nicely there, defending e5, hitting c3, and she's never going to get attacked. So queen b3, like I said, it was an overreaction. Yeah, bishop e2 is fine. I wasn't going to accept this. I wasn't going to accept this and then, you know, have to get attacked and just suddenly changes the whole initiative, just fishing for a weak pawn. But they played queen b3 defending that, and I was able to just develop with tempo. And so this position is just quite nice. So we bring out our pieces. Knight d7 comes, castles. Knight c5 I choose among a number of options. Attacking e4. I don't know why this was... c4 was, yeah, the move played by white. Yeah, I mean, this is just nice. Like, if this pawn were on b3, the position would be completely equal. But that's not the case. This pawn's on c3. It's separated from its other dude. They don't defend each other or control squares together, so it gives me outposts here and here, potentially, and file to attack with. So it's actually, you know, a really pleasant position that I got out of this opening. Knight c5, we're attacking e4. c4 was a nice choice, opening the queen onto this, so we just simply defend that. Knight d2, they have to play kind of a little bit passively as we each now bring out our rooks a bit. Queen b6 was a nice move, trying to take advantage of the fact that this bishop is a little unprotected. Threatening now bishop takes c5 and hitting here. And then, okay, if, you know, you can cause these pieces to move a little bit, then maybe you can exert some pressure on b7, right? So rook takes b6, other rook can come to b1. These are good options. King f7 I chose, just holding on to e6, and now maybe my next move is like trading and knight to a4. And f4, I like this choice. Like, okay, the rook is here, and maybe, you know, you can make something happen. Knight can come here for some checks. e5 can come. Just rook and king on the same line, opening that up. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. So I do want the queens off in that case if my king is potentially under fire. So we traded, and knight comes into a4. So they actually had some really nice... neither of us saw this, but they have here rook takes e6 and bishop to g4 check. So suddenly that comes out of nowhere. And white is actually doing quite well as a result of this. And they have some other resources they can throw in. Okay, here I needed some crazy move like bishop c5. So this becomes a little wild. So I'm getting one of these pieces back. That would be the best way for me to play this. Yeah, trying to leave them. The point is leave them with the light square bishop on the board against my dark square knight, so they have these pawns on light squares, same color as the bishop, and I would have a nice outpost here, so this is still a little bit better for me, but an interesting line. Rook b3 was chosen, which I can't blame them for, and again, I'm trying to trade dark square bishops. So if they just did that, like for example, takes, okay, rook takes d2 is not quite working, there's some craziness happening here. Okay, so they're able to save both these bishops under fire with like here and here. Let's just say I chose the simple option of knight takes c5, rook b2. Okay, when we trade here, right, the knight on c5 against, yeah, the dark square bishop being off the board is actually now very nice. I was able to make that trade. Okay, the king steps out of the way here, rook comes into d8, and again, I continue to press my advantage here with the pawns being all separated, light square bishop being able to target them, their light square bishop being restrained by them and not having their better bishop on the board, and a knight doing a lot of good work blockading this guy, pressuring this guy, and defending this guy. So nice position here. Instead, in the game, actually, they just played king to f2 and didn't realize that I can actually just grab that knight for free. So, yeah, an interesting game here. I mean, it would have been probably more interesting if I, got a chance to play this endgame. But generally, my opponent didn't make like a terrible mistake, of course, until the end there. But I like these options out of the Grave Banko, and in general, I'm getting very good positions. I'm getting very good positions. We can see what my score is here. You can see what my score is in this line here. Okay, pretty high, 66% win, 26% loss. And what about with knight to f3? Okay, 2 for 3, now 3 for 4. Nice stuff, nice stuff. I think, people are scoring well with this. Let's see. Well, I don't know to what extent people are following my lines, but this is already 52 versus 43 in favor of black. So that's pretty good. Pretty good stuff and very tricky stuff. So play that opening, check out the original video there. Whew. Let me know, guys, if the audios and the visuals are all good, by the way. I do have a mini feed here that shows me who subscribes on YouTube. I'm not sure it shows up on the screen, but I will shout you out if you'd like. Plague Man. Another Petroff. I like this d4 that I play against Petroff. Okay. Last time I had like d5 and knight d2. Yep. Last time my opponent played this, I played knight b3. It's just trying to get some imbalance. I'm not sure this is a good move at all. It hits f2, but this was the whole point of why you have to kind of be wary of this trade, is that now I can take it, take this, and knight g5, if I'm not mistaken, just kind of hitting here and here, and this is now very awkward for black. So, not smart if you don't recognize the opening to just blitz that out when you have a lot of time on your clock. Necessary. Queen d7 is a spicy move, which now that trade is different if the queen's on d7. It kind of just holds the knight there a little bit. Knight takes d2 is an option, and knight c5 is an option, but you have to do something about that, because this looks good. And now, well, I have a choice here, right? So I can take e4, which is just a very pleasant pawn. I can also try to do that, test my luck a little bit. Bishop c4, just kind of say that I can grab one of these. I can delay this decision a little bit. It's not obvious what move is so good to delay with, like bishop f4 or something. I'll just grab e4. Maybe I'll just come right back. Interesting. I think that should end badly for them after here. I guess they want b2. It's interesting, ambitious way to play. If I go check, king c8, castles, bishop e5, right? f4. Let's say h6, fe5. So, okay, that whole line is an option. Any other bishop move, though, they grab b2. Let's say bishop f4 takes b2, rook b1. Bishop a3 is going to be your only choice. Rook takes b7, king c8. I think it's fine for them. So, okay. Let's go with... What was the line I was thinking of that I forgot about? Oh yeah, it was check, king c8, long castles, bishop e5, f4. h6, fe5, hg5, knight g5. It's kind of interesting here. If I just start with f4, it's not easy to get a rook here, right? If I just start with f4, I mean, I feel like it should be simple, like to just play c3. If I just play f4. Okay. Let's do that then. What's the big follow-up? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is probably a good option. Because here, bishop d5 is actually quite annoying. So I'll probably just go here, honestly. Make that trade. If I make that trade, I'll just follow it with bishop c4. Can't run away from this, because bishop needs to defend f7. Bishop d5, I play c4. So we're just keeping it solid. Takes, and yeah, that should be a dude I can attack. Yeah, no reason to delay. Bishop could run away now that that's defended. Okay. And bishop c4, like I said. Bishop d3 also an option. Also, I mean, honestly, a lot of these squares are options. Bishop d3 potentially tied down that. Whoa. Okay, let's throw this in. I respect their ambition. They're trying to make this a little confusing for me. So I definitely respect all that. Everything's an option here. Leaving it, taking it. Both are playable. Taking it is simple. Knight e5, bishop comes back to e2. And I should have a nice majority over there. What's appealing to me is pushing. Knight takes e5, bishop takes g5 check. And it works out kind of well if I can get bishop takes e6 after that. Knight d3. I mean, that's got to be good. f5, if they take bishop g5, that's also got to be kind of what I want. If I, otherwise, h6. Again, bishop e6, knight e5. Leaving it also an option, but it's not clear what I do if I leave it. You know? Alright, let's play f5. I don't know. Spicy move. knight C move. Development is poor along the back rank. So this was, you know, I don't know. I didn't have to react to it. It's just I didn't know what to do if I ignored it. This should be good, though, because now I take this with check, which is really quite brilliant. Oh, now I can castle. Okay, wait, this worked out very nicely. Yeah, castle is very nice. Castle with check, so the bishop was hanging, but I got to throw that guy in. Yeah. Okay, I mean, knight takes e5 probably wasn't the best, but it's not, like, so clear what they were supposed to do. King comes to c6. And do I have a very nice finish? Rook e1, knight c4, rook e6? No. So let's just take it. But we actually won material out of all that. I am now up 2 pawns. Before I was only up 1. And my position worked out very nicely. Yeah, I think f5 was actually a really nice move. Maybe h6. Bishop e6 and knight e5. Which was how the game should have proceeded. And again, your knight d3 is an annoying idea. So I would have probably played king e2 and like bishop e3 next or something. Yeah, this is not worth playing out. My opponent indeed chooses not to play it out. So, alright. I am quite tired, to tell you the truth. I am quite tired. But okay, one more game. Maybe more than one more. We'll see. No, okay, I'm pretty tired. Oh, well, okay. Too late. I can't decide. Let's play c3. Let's play Yan Gambit. Yes, take it. Yan accepted. This is fun stuff. Knight came to a3 randomly. And, okay, now this is where the fun begins. As Anakin Skywalker would say. Queen comes to e2. Bishop comes to f4 in some order. Knight comes in. A lot of people miss that there is knight c7 and there is knight d6 with that pawn pinned. So you gotta be careful here. You just go e6, should be largely fine. Okay, an early knight d5. Early knight d5 is a good choice as I understand it, because castle's here. I don't have anything so phenomenal with the bishop, so I gotta come back. But this is a Gambit glasses sort of game. This is fun stuff, and we're gonna get them. We are going to get them. Got lots of ideas cooking here. One of which is, yeah, bring the knight there. I like that a lot. Another is castles, with the rook just here. Right, so with the rook there, I just play like bishop c4, and then you might just be toasted. For example, e6, castles, bishop e7. Oh no, that's actually probably okay. Well, no, it's not okay. I play like c4, knight moves. They go there. A lot of people do this, but the knight waltzes right in. The knight waltzes right into d6. This wasn't the knight's only target. A lot of people bring that queen out. And knight c4 just gets him. Coming right in there. That is brutal. That is brutal. Yeah, the queen's got to move. You got to come back to d8. Yeah, where else do you go? You're going to lose it otherwise. Yeah, let's go in. Knight d6 check while I still can before e6 comes. This is brutal. So queen can't take as the bishop. Pawn is pinned. He's pinned. King d7, fork. Oh my goodness, and they just had to resign. They just had to resign. It's a brutal idea out of nowhere. That queen a5, which looked like a good move. Okay, threatening knight takes c3, winning this. Knight c4, knight d6, GG. Knight c4, knight c6, GG. Okay. That is a good way to end it. That is a nice way to end it. I'm sorry, y'all. I appreciate you guys very, very much. Please subscribe here on YouTube and like the stream and comment below. But more than anything, subscribe. It means a lot. And join the Discord server. Join the Discord server. It is an awesome, awesome community where we share games, discuss openings, and more. Especially if you just kind of like play chess and, you know, just kind of on your own or whatever. Awesome, awesome Gambit Chad stuff here. And here's the full repertoire also. If you go to the link tree, you know, you're not sure about your openings in any of these lines. We've got a brand new Gambit against pretty much every line in existence. So we have a lot of fun playing all this stuff. We're trailblazing new theory and everything. And yeah, feel free to DM me on Discord, especially if you're interested in private lessons. And I will be having my chess boxing event this Saturday. So come there. Why didn't he take the knight with the queen? Because of the bishop. Good question. Because of the bishop. So there was no way to take it. That's why I also had to do it right now. If you played e6, then their bishop would have defended. Right? So knight d6 really got him that way. This is the Yang Yang Gambit, which you can find the full repertoire for. Right there on the link tree. So, yeah. Appreciate you all. Subscribe on YouTube. Join the Discord server.